The original Godzilla is a dark film in which Godzilla is strictly a threat to humanity. He wreaks destruction on Japan and kills humanity indiscriminately, but as the Godzilla series continued over the decades, Godzilla was increasingly portrayed as a heroic figure, a friend and ally to mankind, protecting them from the depredations of other kaiju as they attempted to ravage Earth. The Godzilla films began catering to children, becoming increasingly lighthearted and even outright silly. There have been attempts to bring the Godzilla series back to its roots in the past, such as Godzilla 1984, which was a direct sequel to the 1954 original. But inevitably, the series returns to having Godzilla battle other monsters with the fate of humanity and Earth at stake. Even the recent MonsterVerse films have taken this approach. The 2014 film portrayed Godzilla again as a dangerous force who cared little about humanity. But as that series has continued, Godzilla has become a good guy protecting Earth and mankind from the other Titans. But Godzilla Minus One again takes Godzilla back to his beginnings, making him again a destructive menace that brings destruction to Japan as it is still digging its way out of the rubble after World War II. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Classic Comics. This is my review of Godzilla Minus One, the newest Godzilla film, and certainly one of the best. There will be spoilers in this review, so if you haven't seen the film yet, you may want to do that first. In many ways, Godzilla Minus One is a throwback to the original Godzilla film. Godzilla is a menace that needs to be destroyed, pure and simple, as he ravages Japan. Humans are pretty much just insects to him, and he destroys and kills with little thought. But at the same time, the film's approach to its human cast is much more nuanced and involving. Unlike most Godzilla films, the human drama here is compelling, because the writers have done such a fantastic job of weaving the human elements into Godzilla's story so that they don't distract from the story but rather elevate it. The story begins in 1946 near the end of World War II. Koichi Shikishima is a kamikaze pilot who fails to carry out his suicide mission and instead lands on Odo Island, where a landing strip and maintenance station is located. The head mechanic is sympathetic, noting how pointless it is for pilots to kill themselves even though the war is all but over. But that night, the station is attacked by a large dinosaur the locals call Godzilla. The lightly armed mechanics try to shoot him, but their rifles only anger him. The head mechanic urges Koichi to shoot Godzilla with the large 35mm guns on his fighter, but Koichi freezes up, unable to take the shot, and Godzilla subsequently kills most of the mechanics, leaving Koichi and the head mechanic Tachibana the only survivors. Now guilt-ridden over his failure to save the mechanics, as well as shamed for not doing his duty as a kamikaze and dying in battle, Koichi returns home to Tokyo as the war ends to find his old neighborhood and home have been destroyed by U.S. air raids, and his parents are dead. Like him, everyone around him has lost someone, and soon Koichi takes in a young woman, Noriko, who has adopted a young infant girl, Akiko, whose family has died. They form an ad hoc family of sorts as Koichi rebuilds his family's home. Koichi soon finds work on board a mine-sweeping ship tasked with removing the numerous sea mines that have been laid in Japan's coastal waters by both the Japanese and U.S. navies. While this is happening, the U.S. performs atomic tests that transform Godzilla, and soon he's attacking U.S. warships and heading for Japan. Due to tensions with the Soviet Union, the U.S. withdraws from Japan, but they return some decommissioned warships for the Japanese to use to defend themselves, although most of them have been disarmed. Soon, Godzilla attacks Tokyo, causing widespread destruction. In his wake, a plan is formulated to kill Godzilla, using containers of Freon gas to sink him to the deepest part of the Pacific. Koichi, whose sense of shame and guilt has only grown due to his failure to kill Godzilla on Odo Island back when he had the chance, resolves to help destroy Godzilla, even if it takes a suicide mission to get the job done. Godzilla Minus One is really less about Godzilla himself. Like the original film, Godzilla is largely a plot device that the humans in the story react to. This film is much more about Koichi and his journey, and more broadly about the nation of Japan itself, trying to move on from the horrors and trauma of a war that they lost and the anguish of its people. Much like Koichi, the people of Japan are struggling with a massive sense of loss from their defeat as well as the survivor's guilt of living while so many people that they cared about have died. Given that the defeat came at the hands of the US, you would expect some bashing of America in the story, but there's really none of that here, which kind of surprised me. The film's criticism is much more directed at the Japanese government. Multiple characters in the film make disparaging remarks about the government, criticizing their secretiveness and the determination to keep sending their people out to fight in a cause that they know is hopeless. At one point, a character points out how the government has sent them into war in tanks lacking proper armor, on fighter planes with no ejection seats, and finally just sending them on pointless suicide missions. He then tells the citizens that have volunteered to help stop Godzilla that they will have to do it on their own because the government won't help. Now, I won't give away the ending, but I will say that the ending is satisfying and it feels very earned. A lot of folks are saying that this is the best Godzilla film ever made, and having seen it now, it's easy to see why people are saying that. In terms of its writing and the human drama it brings to the narrative, it's definitely the most sophisticated Godzilla film I've seen in terms of storytelling. The cast are all excellent and fully convincing in their roles. This is what really distinguishes Godzilla Minus One from most Godzilla films. It does a great job of making you care about these people, so that when Godzilla shows up, you're more invested in what happens to them. The effects are really well done for the most part. There are a few scenes where Godzilla seems a little stiff as he's walking around, but I think that might have been done deliberately to help convey a sense of his great size and weight. Much has been made of the fact that this film's budget was about $15 million, and it really does demonstrate how profligate and completely inefficient Hollywood studios, especially Disney, have become. It certainly doesn't look cheap. In fact, one of the impressive things about the film to me is how immersive it is. It does a great job of putting you in that time and place, and it never feels artificial. The director Takashi Yamazaki has done an incredible job with this film, creating a combination Godzilla disaster film and a compelling human drama to give us what may be the most emotional Godzilla film yet. If I had to lay a criticism on it, I would say that the middle act is a bit slow, but the film is only 2 hours, so it's not like it's a big problem. Also, Japan was under US occupation at this time, but in the film, the US Navy conveniently leaves, citing growing tensions with the Soviet Union and wanting to avoid a naval confrontation. That feels a bit contrived, but I understand that this movie is about Japan and its people, and having the US Navy there to protect Japan and save it from Godzilla would run counter to the story that's being told, so I understand why they're conveniently left out of the story. I'll give Godzilla Minus One a 9 out of 10, and I recommend you see it as soon as you can. If you have seen it, let me know what you thought in the comments and whether you agree with my review. Also, please like this video before you leave and sub to the channel, and please check out some of my other videos, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching.